before we are going, before we are using my professor dissertation today, this morning, I would like to say thanks for the chance, especially to Honorable Leader, is Dr. Masitawani Suragatim Idi, and the first, my the Honorable from my promoter, Professor Amrin Saraki MR, PhD, and my co-promoter, Professor Dr. Sumarsi NPD, and Honorable from my whole of viewer, the first Dr. Siti Aisagintik NPD, and Dr. Sinta Nurmi MS, and Dr. Metsuri MR. I would like to presentation dissertation, Professor dissertation. Now, the firstly, introduction, the background. From the introduction, the background is in that how to communicate with teaching CLT. This widely recognized approach is language teaching. CLT that emphasizes interaction as both the mean and the ultimate goal of learning. This study proposed the developing model for communicative language teaching integrates with Islamic values. CLT, a widely recognized approach in LT, emphasizes real-time communication and learning engagement. Communicative language teaching is an approach to language teaching that emphasizes interaction as both the means and the ultimate goal of learning. It focuses on the ability of students to communicate effectively and meaningfully in real-life situations. And the next expectation, the integration of communicative language teaching, CLT, with Islamic values and to achieve high validity, ensuring that teaching material and method align with the objective of Islamic education while enhancing language skill and moral development. This model aspires to effectively improve student communication abilities and enforce the application of Islamic values in their daily lives. Additionally, it seeks to establish reliability, yielding consistent outcomes across diverse contexts. By being practical and adaptable for teachers, this approach provides a meaningful and brings learning experience for students in various educational settings. Research has shown that using customization and communicative teaching strategies can enhance English competence among students, according to Land 2021. But the thing, lack of speaking, focusing on the other aspects, such as grammar, reading, can result in missed opportunities for students to practice speaking and communicate effectively. And secondly, limitation of application. Islamic values may not be applied consistently in the learning process, so students do not understand the importance of these values in daily communication. And the last, there is not yet sufficient understanding regarding how to integrate Islamic values in the CLT context, which can lead to valid, practical, and effective practice. And then we're going to the theory gaps. According to Richard's 2021, CLT focused from the traditional grammar-based teaching toward using language in authentic communication context. Students are trained to integrate naturally, which better reflects the use of language in everyday life. In technique and principle in language teaching state that CLT is not only about language rules, but also the ability to communicate effectively. CLT encourages interaction in the classroom by using simulation like role playing and other collaborative activities according lesson premium and adoption 2018. CLT that focus on communicative competence often pays little attention to importance of including certain Islamic or ethical values, such as those required in learning for Muslim students, or context that emphasizes cultural and religious identity. CLT approach, especially in the terms of the lack of integration of the specific aspect of Islamic values, especially those that are relevant for Muslim students or contexts that have certain cultural values. In this context, CLT often emphasizes only communicative competence without paying attention to the need to incorporate cultural or ethnical values that are important to learn from diverse communities. And then we're talking about the research gap. From here, we can see from the research gap, the studies collected indicate that communicative language teaching CLT effectively enhance English language proficiency by fostering natural conversation, flow, and based on student-based motivation. According Joko Sribimo 2021, Saputra 2022, Kekmolen 2022, Padan Pradana 2023, these findings high fluency, flexibility, and effectiveness in improving both linguistic competence and personal development. And then, according Ahmed 2021, argues that traditional CLT model do not address the ethical or cultural needs of learning in Muslim majority countries, where integrating Islamic values can enhance relevance and engagement. Similarly, according to Richards and Rogers, 2014 note that CLT is highly effective in promoting language proficiency, but it often fails to consider learners' social cultural backgrounds. This is particularly relevant for Muslim students who will benefit from an approach that blends language learning. With religious and cultural values fostering a more holistic education experience. Next, the problem of the research. I have 4 problems of my research dissertation proposal. The first, how is validity of the communicative language teaching integrated with Islamic values? And secondly, how is effectiveness of the communicative language teaching integrated with Islamic values? And the third, how is reliability of the communicative language teaching integrated with Islamic values? And the last, how is practically of the communicative language teaching integrated with Islamic values? And the next, I want to tell about my next objective of the research. I make 2 core objective of the research. And the first, to evaluate ability of the communicative language teaching integrate with Islamic values. And then, secondly, to evaluate effectiveness of the communicative language teaching integrate with Islamic values. And the third, to evaluate reliability of the communicative language teaching integrate with Islamic values. And then the last, to evaluate practically of the communicative language teaching integrate with Islamic values. Next. Now, talking about the significance of the research. There are 4 significant for my research. Number 1, enrich theories language learning, teaching, and become reference for further studies. And secondly, the research offered a unique educational approach that not only improves student English language skill, but also strengthen their ethical and moral reasoning grounded in Islamic teaching. And the third, by integrating Islamic values into language teaching, the research contributes to the growing field of Islamic pedagogy. It offers an educational framework that is deeply rooted in Islamic ethnic while addressing the modern needs for English language proficiency. And the last, the research creates a teaching model that is culturally and religiously relevant to Muslim learning. ensuring that their language education is aligned with their cultural identity and religious beliefs. And the next, I'm talking about my chapter 2, review of literature. In this segment, I want to explain the communicative language teaching and Islamic values, supporting theories in CLT and Islamic values. Next, we're talking about the CLT. Communicative language teaching, CLT. According to result 2022, highlight that the CLT approach enables students to learn how to communicate effectively, which is essential for real-world interaction. This approach goes beyond simple learning grammar or vocabulary. It's focused on teaching students how to use English as primary means of interaction with others. And then, according to Johnson, 2023, demonstrate that students taught using the CLT methods experience significant improvements in speaking skill compared to the traditional methods. CLT offers several advantages for enhancing speaking activities, including increased self-motivation and self-confidence among students. And the next, we're talking about the Islamic values. How the team 2004 Islamic values such as honest, respect, responsibility to community welfare play a crucial role in education within Islamic context. And according to and say 2022, Islamic values go beyond religious ritual and encompass everyday behaviors and decision-making processes, reinforcing both ethical conduct and accountability. Next, supporting theories in CLT and Islamic values. The verse we're talking about Kotmo 2022. He talking about a communicative language teaching CLT is an effective language learning approach to improve English language competence. And number A, can improve and stimulate students to think creatively. And B, can improve student attention to the learning process. And C, able to recognize their own abilities and train students' self-confidence. And the last, able to stimulate students' imagination in stimulating the increase in vocabulary. But according to George and Rogers 2022, CLT is the make learning centered approach that emphasizes real life communication, encouraging students to engage in meaningful conversation rather than solely focusing on grammar and vocabulary learning centers. Approach that emphasizes real life communication, encouraging students to engage in meaningful conversation rather than solely focusing on grammar and vocabulary. But also, according to Hussein Kamali 2024, highlight the role of Islamic values in creating cultural educational frameworks that respect Muslim students' cultural identity while promoting universal moral principles. The research underscores the need for educational models that cater to the specific spiritual and moral needs of students, which is essentially in today's multicultural learning environments. And the next, I want to talking about some conceptual framework from my proposal dissertation. We're talking about the conceptual, firstly, model CLT to integrate Islamic values and become to developing. What's developing? Firstly, validity, effectiveness, reliability, and practice. Here and then from the validity, effectiveness, reliability, we comment to model CLT integrate Islamic values, and then practically it means that the student communication competent from the conceptual framework. And next, relevant studies. My relevant studies from Wibowo 2023, the study titled Strengthening West Asia Islamic Values in the Perspective of Education in Madrasah addressed the pressing issue of religious intolerance and the needs for moderation in Indonesia. And secondly, Pradana 2023, the study aimed to assess how the incorporation of these Spanish ethics, Spanish aspect of students educationally experience focus include student motivation, how integrating Islamic values influence student enthusiasm and engagement in learning English. And the last, Doktor Ltbi 2021, study emphasizes that CLT improves using language in real-life context, such as everyday conversation or relevant scenarios, and recognize language as tool for communication rather than just a set of rules and structures. Next, we're talking about chapter 3. In the chapter 3, research method from my proposal dissertation, I have procedure of the design. This research used the 8D model to design and carry out research systematically, starting from the analysis, design, development, implementation, and the last, how to evaluation. Next, research subject. Yeah, the thing from my proposal dissertation, I had research subject. This research took samples from the implementation of communicative language teaching CLT. As we know, activities in teaching learning, in teaching English, especially in the development of integrated CLT model based on simultaneous and Darul Ulum Asahan Islamic Institute, exactly in Asahan. This research was carried out at Yaidu Asahan, Tarbiyah Faculty, involving Islamic religious education by Pendidikan Agama Islam. Students consisting of the 6 classes in the event semester. A total of my students 115. And then technique of collecting data, developing model for communicative language teaching, integrated Islamic values. I have the technique of collecting data, starting from the observation, interviews, document analysis, and the last pre and post text. Next, technique of data analysis. From the technique data analysis from my dissertation, proposal dissertation, quantitative descriptive analysis, scores from the model validation defined by expert eye calculant quantitative. The first, validation analysis. Second and the three, practicality and effectiveness test. And the last, reliability test. Next. Thank you for my presentation today for my proposal. I have delivered my presentation. I beg to my professor.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. Salim, could you please take out your PowerPoint display? Well, we're now proceeding on to the next stage where we expect comment, criticisms from both of the viewers. And personally, I asked the owner of Professor Sriminda Murni to give a comment and suggestions or whatever which is possible for the improvement of this research proposal. Professor Sriminda, take your time.
Yes, Prof. Amring Saragi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Could you please take out your display? Dikeluarkan namanya. Okay.
Pak Agus Salim, Marpaung. Good luck. You are now sitting for your proposal seminar. This is the first step to end your study at the university, but it's still a long way to go, of course. Right, Pak? Yeah. You are working on developing model for communicative language teaching, right? Yeah. When you are talking about model, so what elements will involve in your study later that you put in the model and also the elements, the effectiveness and the validity. So again, what elements will be involved in this model?
Wait a minute. Prof. Okay, man. Give me a few minutes. So, the instrument, Prof. Ya?
No, the elements. Unsur-unsur apa saja nanti yang akan masuk di dalam model ini, dan setiap unsur ini nanti akan you assess kan Pak? Because your research question kan salah satunya mempertanyakan validity-nya, reliability-nya, kemudian effectiveness-nya. So what are the elements you will put in the model? Pertanyaan.
Element from the model. Obviously, I make some test because I think communicative language teaching, the elements make communication, talking about Islamic values, such as the story of the Prophet Muhammad, such as talking about the others, conversation talking about the religion. I mean, from the element from this.
Right. Yeah. So I suggest you, Pak Salim, to read relevant studies related to designing a model. Yeah, and then find out the elements that you need to develop. Ya, apakah elemen strategis, apakah elemen materialsnya, apakah elemen teaching strategiesnya, apakah elemen assessmentnya. So all componentsnya Pak, components when you are designing a model, komponennya apa saja itu kalau model itu begitu Pak. You don't have it yet in your proposal, kecuali saya yang belum ketemu Pak.
From
ya komponennya mungkin jangan bukan, mungkin lebih tepat, lebih mudah dipahami. Apa komponen apa saja nanti yang ada di dalam model itu Pak?
Komponennya Prof. Ini komponen ikut here. I make
bisa dilihat bisa dilihat nanti Pak ya.
Thank you.
Yeah. So when people when you design a model, itu harus melibatkan komponen apa saja yang harus didesain. Begitu ya Pak. Ya, oke. Number one. And then number two, why is it important to do? Mungkin itu belum jelas di dalam background ya Pak ya. Bapak sebetulnya mulai dengan, sorry ya, when I speak it seems that my voice is like echoing, betul ya? Bukan ya?
Like echoing.
Jadi kurang jelas ya?
Clear.
Oh jelas, oke. Now, the first paragraph is what do you call it? eye-catching atau promising to provide information about why you think that this is very important to do. Itu kan Bapak tulis di situ ya, misalnya ya. Learning English as a foreign language in Indonesia may contain Western norms and a culture that different from Eastern and Islamic values misalnya. Itu kan starting point yang bagus ya. Jadi you sudah melihat bahwa itu menjadi masalah begitu kan Pak? Masalahnya adalah you did not elaborate that sentence sehingga kita nggak tahu apa saja yang konten yang Western norms and culture itu yang contradictory to Eastern and Islamic values itu misalnya apa saja sehingga you menciptakan sebuah model pembelajaran yang baru yang dapat menampung Islamic values itu tidak jelas Pak di situ bisa dikembangkan nanti di dalam background itu maybe you can ya apakah temuan penelitian sebelumnya yang menampilkan apa namanya teaching material atau kurikulum atau teaching strategies yang Bapak anggap contradictory terhadap Islamic values begitu Pak sehingga ya kita memerlukan model of teaching yang bisa mengakomodir kebutuhan siswa Islam begitu misalnya serta didik Islam atau sekolah-sekolah Islam karena kita tidak bisa menggunakan apa yang available sekarang ini kan gitu mestinya kalau dilihat dari kalimat pertama itu Pak ya kan now number 3 jadi please elaborate Pak your background so we know what is actually problems triggering you to do this research gitu. Yang meresahkan itu apa Pak? Yang kira-kira Bapak ingin improve itu apa begitu Pak? Jadi ada data-data ya, data-data atau hasil penelitian yang menunjukkan bahwa ada masalah di dalam existing models yang ada sekarang ini gitu Pak. Kan nggak jelas apa masalahnya. Or maybe you can talk about this. Apa masalahnya kira-kira Pak?
Jadi talking about many issues from CLT, talking about the grammar, talking about the theory, never see the person talking about Islamic values. So I'm so interested to make Islamic values by using the super important model using Islamic values. When I see based on grammar, just like based
on what? Sorry.
Based on grammar.
Oh, okay. So the existing materials, the teaching strategy are more to improve or to develop grammar skills ya, tidak speaking skills. Ya, ditampilkan saja Pak di background. And then the other problem that you also need to enhance in your background itu Islamic values itu Pak. How important it is to put that. Kalau nggak adanya masalah di situ Pak. Ya, so maybe you can refer to the existing materials now, buku-buku yang ada di Bapak mengajar jadi kan di Malaysia ya?
No, I'm teaching in Assam.
Oh, kenapa you bicara tentang pendidikan di
Later,
Inggris di Malaysia kemarin?
2 months ago, we going to the CICT observation our research job. Alhamdulillah kemarin tembus penelitian kita diterima 40 juta di penelitiannya. So we take the observation from the school international school. That's it. I'm not teaching.
Okay, Pak. So why you think it is important to what do you call it? To include Islamic values. These two phrases are key phrases in your research paper. That number one is communicative and teaching. Itu sudah lama ya memang. Ada beberapa kita juga menunjukkan bahwa itu dapat meningkatkan kemampuan berbicara. Iya, tapi apa yang lagi membuat ini penting untuk dilakukan lagi, apalagi yang kedua, why is it important to include Islamic values antara? Ya, apa rupanya masalahnya Islamic values ini? Are you going to design any models used by sekolah-sekolah madrasah supaya ada khusus? Tapi menurut saya yang existing materialnya has included Islamic teachings. Seperti yang saya ada amat beberapa buku di madrasah. So why you unhappy that misalnya? Oke, ada Islamic material yang Islamic teaching nanti pendekatannya masih pembelajaran primer. Tapi Bapak harus ingat ini when outing this Islamic values, banyak sekali Islamic values Bapak. Banyak sekali pemimpin saja ada empat: sidik, amanah, tabligh, amanah misalnya. Untuk pemimpin saja ada empat. So Islamic values mana ini? Saya coba cari. Bapak masukkan ada kata intolerance, ada kata moderation, ya. Saya tahu ini salah satu program yang ada agama ini, moderasi beragama. Tapi jangan lupa Bapak, jangan lupa orang yang bisa toleransi dan moderasi ini adalah orang-orang yang kuat di agamanya, yang sudah menerapkan agama secara baik. Jangan buru-buru melakukan moderasi. Kalau dia agamanya hanya 20%, 5%, nanti dia ini Pak, halalkan segala cara. Makan ayam katanya halal, makan kambing katanya halal. Dia tidak sesuai bagaimana itu dipotong misalnya. Ya kan? Nah, jadi saya kurang nyaman dengan kalau saya pribadi ya, kurang nyaman ya, kecuali mau jadi pemimpin Islam yang sidik amal tadi dan sudah 4 values itu Pak. Jadi siapkan saja generasi dan cucu benar-benar meresapi dan mengaktualisasikan values itu sebelum keluar berhadapan dengan orang lain, generasi toleransi. Label yang sebetulnya tidak benar-benar berterapan lagi Islam. Tidak toleran. Kan kita memang tidak boleh toleran. Soal makan misalnya, soal sholat misalnya, tidak boleh toleran Pak. Iya. Kecuali ayam harus dikaji misalnya, ya kan? Nggak mau pendek itu baca bismillah nggak? Ada kiblat nggak? Tidak boleh toleran gitu. Jadi saya pikir values-nya dipertimbangkan, Pak. Right, okay. And then, paragrafnya, if I can say, masih sangat lemah ya, Pak. Mungkin bisa dibantu apakah compose ulang oleh ChatGPT atau apa misalnya, Pak, compose ulang kemudian apalagi di-revise lagi oleh Bapak. So for example page 2 misalnya, ya page 2 jelas paragraf, coba Bapak lihat dulu sebentar. Page 2 itu ya, page 2 semua sebetulnya paragrafnya masih terlalu lemah ya, Pak. Coba page 2, halaman 2 nggak usah jauh-jauh ke belakang ya. The last paragraph. Learning and increasing the frequency and scope of English does not mean that we as Indonesian ignore Indonesian and regional languages. Ini urusannya dengan kita apa ini sekarang? Kita mau CLT, kita mau Islamic values, urusannya sama kita regional languages ini apa ya? Ada urusannya itu kayaknya dengan Bapak ini. Ya, jadi dibuatkan saja ya. Oke. Ya, the comment number 4 will be about page 38, Pak.
38.
Ya.
Talking about objective.
Ya, the objective of research. Ini hanya perlu penjelasan saja. I would like to learn from you.